Hello, dear children, and welcome back to another class of mathematics for class 2. Today, we will be dealing with chapter 7, measurement. Okay? So, measurement is simply, finding out how big or small a thing is, how tall or how short, how long or how short, right? All these are measurements. So today we'll be learning about different measurements, all right? Different ways to measure. Now, after after we finish this chapter, we aim to measure length and distance using uniform non-standard units. Meaning, uniform non-standard units are your hands. You use your hands to measure. Your fingers, you use your fingers to measure. You can use this pointer to measure. You can use your feet. All these come under non-standard units. Now, the next point is we will be able to measure the weight of two objects, all right? The weight of two objects and measure the capacity. Capacity simply means something, for example, a bottle, the amount of water that it can hold, all right? So we're going to go into that later part of the lesson. So let's begin with our lesson for today. First, we will try to understand different uniform non-standard units. All right. As I have already mentioned, the non-standard units are your hands, your feet, your fingers. It can be your length of your elbow to your tip of your hand finger. So all these things are non-standard units. You can use a pencil to measure. You can use a book to measure. All right. All these are non-standard units. So the first thing that we will learn today is about hand span. So as shown in the figure, the hand span is nothing but your hands spread out in this manner. So when you spread out your hands, you measure from the tip of your thumb to the tip of your little finger. So this distance, as shown here in the picture, this distance is your hand span. All right, this is one method. The other method is foot span. Foot span, the from the heel to the tip of your toe. This distance is your foot span. All right, and the third method is also the cubit. The cubit is nothing but the measurement from your elbow to the tip of your finger. It looks something like this, all right? From the elbow to the tip of your finger, okay? So we will learn about this. Now, these are the three methods that we have heard so far: the hand span, the foot span, and cubit, right? Cubit. Now let's look at all of these one by one. This is your hand span. For the hand span, you will notice that we are taking the measurement from the tip of your thumb to the tip of your little finger. This is called your hand span. You can use this to measure different objects. Let us take, for example, a math textbook. All right. So I'm going to use this hand span to measure this textbook. So the first hand span, then the second hand span. So we can say that the length of the maths textbook is two hand spans. All right. Now let's look at the next method. The next method is about your foot. This is your foot. So from here we can measure, measure the foot span. That is from the tip of your toe to the end of your heel. This is the distance which we call as foot span. Now we'll try to measure the foot span, the length of the classroom. So we have one foot span here already placed. The second foot span, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So we can say that the length of the classroom is 20 foot spans. So this is how you measure length using your foot spans. Now we will learn about cubit. Cubit is simply the length of your arm, forearm, okay? So we will measure from the elbow to the tip of your finger. This is called your cubit. Now we can measure this length of this table. Let's measure 1 cubit, 2 cubit, 3 cubit, 4 cubits. So we can say that this table length of the side of the table is 4 cubits. All right. So this is all about measurement using non-standard units. So I hope you have already understood the non-standard units are your hand span, your foot span, and your cubit. And there are many more. All right. So see, another method is through your pace meaning your steps, all right, according to your steps. So you use these steps to measure the length of your room. You can measure length of your classroom. You can measure the distance from your gate to your house, and you can also measure the number of steps to reach your house, okay, from any place, right? So these are some ways you can measure the distance and length, all right? And you can even use your fingers. Your fingers can be used to measure small things like this thing. You can measure with your finger, all right? There are so small objects like pencil, pen, your box, all right, your phone. You can measure all the length with the help of your fingers, right? Now, these non-standard units have different sizes. They vary from person to person because a teacher will have a bigger hand than a student, right? A teacher will have a longer arm than the student, right? So your father will have a longer leg than your mother. You will have a longer feet than your sisters, right? So these are the different sizes. They vary from person to person. So the measurement will also vary, okay? Now, if you look at this, we have three different people walking at a pace. All of them have different paces, different distance, right? So these distances will vary from person to person. Another example can be your hand, your brother's hand, and your father's hand, all right, for example. So they will vary according to the size. The size will vary, okay? So these are the different standards of units, all right? Now, we will learn about measuring of distance. Distance is the length between two places. That means the distance can be explained as the length you walk from your house till the school, all right? That will be your distance. Or in this example, you are on the road and the distance will, from where you are to reaching the school will be the distance between the two places, the road and the school, all right? So this is uh, something about walking. You walk and you find the distance with your pace or your foot span, all right? So distance can also be from your house to your friend's house. The distance can also be from the town to your house, all right? So these are different uh, things that we can measure through our walking pace, our foot span, and all these things. So whatever we have learned, these are all non-standard uh, units. And please understand that, please be reminded that the non-standard units always vary from person to person because each person is of a different height, have different length of arm length, different foot length, right? So all of them vary according to size. Now let's look at the next topic. The next topic is about weight, measuring weight. So weight is how heavy or how light an object is. Some objects are very heavy, some objects are very light, okay? So this is called weight, okay? We can say that it has a very heavy weight, it has a very light weight, right? So let's look at some example here. We have a weighing scale. I'm sure you have all seen this in, shops, especially vegetable shops, right? You see a weighing scale where you put weights and you put the vegetables that you want to buy. Now in this picture we can see that the weight is 1 kg and the brinjals are on the other side, and we can see that this scale is evenly balanced. They are balanced. So that means we can say that the brinjals are equal to 1 kg. That means these brinjals are equal to 1 kg. All right, children? Now, let's look at another example. We have a brinjal here, one brinjal and one pumpkin here. But you can see that the brinjal is small and very light, right? And the pumpkin is big and very heavy. So you can see this scale towards the pumpkin is down and it goes down, and the scale where the brinjal is, it goes up, because the brinjal, one brinjal is lighter than the pumpkin, right? So the scale goes up towards the brinjal side. Or we can also say the pumpkin is heavier than one brinjal, right? So this is another way of saying that the pumpkin is heavier than the brinjal here. Now if you look at this picture, we have two chilies here and two tomatoes. Now the tomato is obviously heavier, that's why this side it is down and this side it is up, right? So we can say two tomatoes are heavier than two chilies, okay? And similarly, we can also say two chilies are lighter than two tomatoes, all right? Now, let's look here. Lemons. Who doesn't love lemons, right? It's tangy, but it's quite tasty. Let's measure them. We have 5 lemons on one side and 1 lemon on the other. The 5 lemons are heavier, that's why the scale on their side is down. And the scale on the side where 1 lemon is kept, it is higher, right? It is high up. Now that means 5 lemons are heavier than 1 lemon. All right, children? This can also be said in the reverse order. That is, 1 lemon is lighter than 5 lemons, isn't it? So this is all about weights, okay? Weights, you can even try this at home. You can take a stick, you can take some ropes, 2 ropes, 1 rope over here, 1 rope over here, and you can take a plate and you tie the plates on both sides. You can put things, different things on the two sides, and you can try to measure them, right? So this is all about weights, measuring weights. Now let's look at our final topic for today, capacity. Capacity, as I've already mentioned, capacity means, for example, a bottle. A bottle, for example, this bottle, the amount of sanitizer that it can hold, the hand sanitizer it can hold, this is called your capacity. All right. So the capacity will differ from different shapes with different sizes. All right. So let's learn about capacity, how to measure capacities. Let's compare some cups here. The first cup, second cup, and the third cup. That means we have 3 cups here. But just by looking at it, we can say that the first cup will hold less water than the second cup. The second cup will hold less water than the third cup. So that means the third cup will hold the most water, right? It can hold more water than the two of them. So this is another way of measuring. Let's compare this. We see a bottle and a glass here. Now, we can clearly understand from the picture that the bottle holds more water than the glass. That means this bottle can fill more water than this glass. All right? That means even if I fill the whole glass and pour it in the bottle, it will not fill up this bottle. All right. In the next example, the we can also say like this: the glass holds less water than the bottle, right? That means this glass has less water than this bottle. Okay? And finally, we can also look at this example. This is a bottle here, and we have two glasses. Now, we will say that one bottle can hold, this bottle can hold the same amount of water that the two glasses can hold. That means if I pour water in these two bottles, and after pouring it here, I pour it into this bottle, it will fill up. All right? That means these two bottles can hold the same amount of water that this bottle can hold. All right? So this is all about capacity and uh, measurement of weights and the non-standard units that we have learned today. So please keep, try to practice at home. You can measure different things at home. You can take a book and measure with your hand. You can measure your TV. You can measure the monitor screen of your computer. You can measure so many things. All right, take a glass of water and try to fill it in another and see if they are equal or not. All right, so these are the different methods through which you can measure different things. So I hope you have had fun during this lesson, and I hope to see you again very soon in the next video. So please stay tuned and don't stop practicing. All right, study hard. All the best. See you very soon.